Of residents jammed into a hotel ballroom in Ka'anapali today to tell the Maui County Council their vision for rebuilding Lahaina.
Many were emotional and passionate in demanding a Lahaina that puts residents ahead of tourists.
Good afternoon, everyone. Everyone before me has pretty much spoken on behalf of what I feel and how we should try to make the plan for a better Lahaina. I just want to go back to the day of the fire. And on that day, I was working at the hotel. And from where I work, I can see Lahaina. And I could see the smoke getting closer. And I realized at 5:25, it was getting close to my home in Lahaina. And I asked my supervisor to leave work because I need to check on my mother. She's 87 years old at the time. There was no evacuation. There was no radio announcement, no siren. And that's my big concern. If I didn't have the decency and the grace of God to kick me behind and get home, my mother would have been alive today. And I blame that on the system. It is BS that we had to go through that. And we need to protect a future of Lahaina town by making it work. What are the plans? There's no evacuation. There was no, like the brother said earlier, about cops going in and telling people it's time to leave. If I didn't make it home that time, my mother wouldn't be alive today.
For all intents and purposes, we don't leave Lahaina. We want to stay here. There's no reason why these hotels cannot open up. The amount of units that there are in this industry can swallow up all of Lahaina quite easily. Of course, it'll probably be just a matter of dividing everybody up, perhaps. But get plenty of room for us. I know that already. So that being said, all of us in Lahaina, we're in it for the long haul. We know that. But this industry, come on, only 2 months and you just give up already? They gotta be in it for the long haul too. Why? We built this industry. We built this industry. This industry is dependent on us. They like us get back to work because they know, even the governor knows, and this is why this is very much plantation mentality, that once we get back into the grind, it's hard to stop. So it becomes not only a distraction, but a deterrent. It is a deterrent. It deters us. Now, you think we're going to go work all day? We go to a meeting at night. You think that's what we to do? You think that's fun? You think that's part of the quality of life for the people who live here? Of course not. We don't going to a meeting at night after you just work all day, slaving in the tourism industry or whatever industry. So this is all a deterrent, deterring us from being part of the solution, deterring us from being at the table. So that's why we got to push this back right now and get it happening before the 8th comes.
So I leave it in your hands. We need to figure out a way to make this work and stop having this go over and over with the electrical lines dropping. We're rebuilding and putting up those power lines, and it's useless because every 4 or 5 years they snap break and then there's another road closure. And we're getting tired of this. This has been going on for 50 years. Okay? Let's make a plan. It's time to stop and think about the people in Lahaina because we have nowhere to go. We need a new hospital we've been talking about for how many years? We can build that stupid bypass. And where did it go? It stops at Keawe Street. Give us more roadway for us to safely leave Lahaina when it is, if there's a tsunami or the fires. Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Kelly Kiahi. I am a Lahaina resident whose house did burn down. I have been displaced to Wailuku. And since I have been over there, I haven't been back to Lahaina very often, but coming in today, I got here really early and signed up to testify. And one of the things that I saw was just how our island is dying. Everything's dead. It's just dried up. The very essence and the beauty of what this place used to be is no longer. The people are being suffocated out of here. And we can't go back to what was not working before this fire. We cannot. We have to move on. We have to do better and do better for the people. One of the things I would like to really see is accountability of the land and the landowners. And we have to have somebody in place to make sure that there are fines and penalties and repercussions for not taking care of that land. There should be, whether it be goats or sheep or cattle or something up there grazing to keep the grass down. What have we not learned from 2018? And today we lost our town because we did nothing from the 2018 fire. Look where we are now. It's sad, you guys. As far as the town being reconstructed, my family builds. We built our own home in Lahaina. And we had to have a certain standard of way we built our house, which was, historical. And then I see all these homes on Front Street that look like something out of LA, and, boxed and squared and modern. And I don't get how those guys got away with that. But we had to be held to a certain standard. We got to have standards in the rebuild. And if we're going to be in a historic town, it needs to be historically rebuilt. And there has to be repercussions for people that are breaking that. I'm sorry, but let's all be fair here. As far as Mala Wharf and as far as Lahaina Harbor, we need to make sure that Mala Wharf is for the residents. We can no longer have businesses conducting business out of Mala Wharf. Lahaina Harbor needs to be rebuilt to sustain those businesses as well, and they need to come out of Lahaina Harbor. No more Mala Wharf. It's POW. It shouldn't even be up for discussion in closed doors without the residents there to have a say about it. We fought long and hard for Canoe Beach as far as businesses down there. That's our practice field for the canoes and for the high school and the canoe clubs. And I don't want to see, these boat businesses over there trying to have access through Waikuli so they can launch their boats and, conduct their business over here. We're not ready. Lahaina town is not ready for all of this. We're going back to work, but we got to do better this next time around, you guys. Please accountability and get the roads fixed. We got to have access all the way down and out and not be trapped. I was on the other side of Lahaina Luna, and getting out of town was really hard because the poles were all over the road. You can't have poles next to the road anymore, you guys. Do better.
I am a Kumu Kayapuni here with our entire Ohana of Lahaina and our Keiki Kayapuni. And I grew up down Mala on Ala Street, right next to Lahaina Jodo Mission, and I am just one of thousands who were impacted by the deadly wildfire on August 8th. Our Nagasako family home that we lived in on A'a Street was completely destroyed. As you guys listen to all the mona'o that will be shared today to develop a comprehensive recovery and resiliency plan for Lahaina, I hope that you keep the voices of our people, our kama'aina with generational ties to this place at the forefront of every decision that you make from here on out. As Ohana continue to search for long-term temporary housing, I believe that our emergency efforts should be focused on places more north of Lahaina, where people have access to safe water and safe access to stores and local businesses that we can continue to support.
Let me tell you a little story. On Monday, as our keiki over there, as an entire school took our keiki to Kapalua Bay, to Holo Holo, and learn about our Lawaiʻapono from our makua, we encountered tourists who told our keiki who are fishing now, learning their traditional cultural practice in our place. We come to us who were fishing to move so they could set up their beach day because they needed shade. Yeah. When some of our makua attempted to reason with them, letting them know about the situation of the keiki in the community, guess what they said? I don't care. Why should I? I came here to enjoy my vacation. While they're trying to call the cops and argue about the right to be there, their toddler got swept up in the surf and tossed around. And it was one of our makua that took care of them, pulled them out of there. You guys had your chance to build how you see fit, to control the resources and policies, to cause the conditions that set the stage for this disaster. People stayed in their homes to protect all they worked for under this system, to protect that they worked work to the bone for their entire lives for scraps and to cling to it until we perish. Never again. Lahui consciousness is about abundance for all, peace for all, safety for all. Let the community, not the developers, not the speculators and transplants, and surely not the American imperialist ideologists, plan for our future. If you're still talking tourism, if you're still talking building more, and you're still talking taking our resources for this economy, or for this tourism, whatever, for their play.
4
no
minutes.
Raja. You are perpetuating a problem, and you need to either pivot and align with the broader Hawaiian national consciousness and local community, or go back where you came from.
Aloha. My name is Kekai Kiahi. I don't have to repeat anything everybody said. I think our community is unreal with how they express themselves. So I can focus on something else. What I worried about is in the rush to rebuild, we go back to what we was doing before. They kind of put us in this situation. And what I'm referring to is the water. The Laniopoko Aquifer, which consists of Laniopoko and the Lahaina town up to the Civic Center, and the Honokoi Aquifer, which consists of all of Honokoi. You guys need to understand this. In a Honokoi sector, there's a sustainable yield that you can draw from the ground that you can draw consistently. We have surpassed that sustainable yield. We're at 106%. We have no water. In the Lahaina section, we're at 95%. So even if we wanted to build more, we don't even have the water capacity to do so. In fact, 20 years ago, they already started to witness the salinity levels in these wells rise. And so what was the county's reaction to that? Divert Kanaha Stream, dilute this water, and then serve it back to the community. So we had a problem. They so-called fixed it by illegally diverting the stream, and then they issue out more permits, and guess what? We're right back to the same position again, and we're back to drawing salt water from the aquifers again. So, what is the solution? We produce about 5 to 6 million gallons of R1 water. Okay, right now, we're just dumping them down into an injection well. The county was sued because of that, right? That R1 water we can use for irrigation. We just need to develop the system and the infrastructure to get this water back across to Lahaina and use this. Gang, we should go to a dual meter system. One for R1 water that you can use for your grounds, wash your car, keep our pots green, so we're not paying that $500 fine when we overuse our water. The second is for the drinking water for your home. By using that 5 or 6 million, let's just say 5 million gallons of R1 water, we keep 5 million gallons of that water in the ground to replenish our aquifers that's already depleted. 5 million gallons a day, 35 million gallons a week, 1,820,000,000 gallons a year we save and replenish our aquifers with that water. Simple, man. But if we don't push the use of that water, and we're going to think we're going to build back, we're headed for the same disaster. We cannot go back to doing the same thing. Some of you may know, I kind of did a cute little challenge on Facebook. Let's try and reforest Lahaina. And I got like 50 kukui trees, and the thing would explode. People from all around the state want to help. Maui High School and their ag department restructured the entire ag system. Kapara is telling me, to reforestation of Lahaina. If we guys understand, the trees that we need to reforest this area are going to bring that water back. We're going to pull that rain out of that mountains, like the Hawaiian proverb. Yeah, when where the forest go, the rain go. So we gotta change our mindset, get rid of the continental ideology that we're holding on to, thinking that our resources are limitless, that we're gonna continue to build as if we get water forever. We live on an island. We need to go back to what we understand about islands. Island people all around the world know how to live on a planet Earth better than anybody else, because what is Earth but an island in the universe? So we understand about conservation. So that's what I get about the water. And I think that's something real doable. If they can build a rail and that we pay for too, also over here, we should be able to put it on pipe in the ground and bring them across the line. Pretty simple. One more thing, and this is what I feel, is that Because we're in the heat of things right now. People energized. But over time, we won't get lazy. We need to dominate the discussion. We need to dominate the meeting. We need to be here every single meeting. Because if not, we're going to go back right to what we was doing. When I say dominate, we need to dominate the system, the meetings, everything about how we're going to rebuild back our place.
What I was going to start with was we need to set the waters free, but, you know, he already said that, and I think that's an awesome solution for what he's saying. So, you know, that was that. After the water situation, because we do need that first, I would like to see more secured housing for kupuna and the working class of Lahaina families. A solution to diversify to stop West Maui from having to count on tourism for survival. We need mandated fire breaks everywhere. And the idea of burying the electric lines or solar or hydroponics or whatever are all great ideas. It's ideas for solutions. This is why we're here. This is why you are here. Lahaina was once known as Malu'ulu'olele, where it thrived with green, with water, with life. Lahaina wasn't dry before. We never have evacuations because of fires. That wasn't even a thing. At least I don't remember that, and I'm only 37. I do remember ulu trees, noni, mango trees, star fruit, even lychee was all over Wahikuli. Ulu trees, mango, noni, choke plumeria trees was all over town when I was young. Now most of it, if not all of these fruit trees are completely gone because our water is scarce. I would love to see the restoration and protection of Moku'ula and Mokuhinia, our most sacred place. I would like to see the stop of commercial activities down Mala Wharf. This boat ramp was built for the community and now it's overrun by commercial tours. I work at Star Noodle, so you know every night at the sunset time you see these cruise boats come in and they come in fucking close. I mean, I don't think that's legal for how close they're coming in. They come in like they touching reef kind. That's not okay. We make videos. I know people send them into the deal and on. Nothing happens. The next night, they're still there. They're there every night. I would like to see you guys hold these private developers and greedy business owners accountable for the wrongdoings they have always committed, and they keep doing it in our community. Alex C. Peter Martin. And everybody like him, banned from Maui. I like him 86. I know that's wishful thinking, okay? I get it. And I know some of you guys up here is for him. I know that too. But you know what? It's the truth. It's how we feel. I look at our town, our homes, our aina. We look like when war zone in Baghdad. This one happened because we never have water.
3 minutes.
I look Lanio Poco still green, their yards and pools full of water. That don't make sense to me. We need to see control on rent gouging. I would like to see vacation rentals gone from every neighborhood. On the whole island. Lots of us lost everything, and the very little some of us may have left, we're going to fight for that. We will always fight this fight. We're tired of being ignored. And I know Tamara Pautin been fighting hard because I see that. I'm asking everybody to fight harder for your districts and our county. Help us against the governor and his affiliates. The governor rushing our kids to go back to school into one danger zone so parents, you know, quote unquote, get child care so they can go back to work and service the tourists. Right? That's why I feel it's being rushed. And that's some bullshit.
4 minutes.
We need you to kako'o us on every issue and every concern. You guys cannot expect us residents that, you know, work in the tourism industry for give out aloha. I mean, I don't feel like we're capable of that right now. Kapo aloha don't exist right now. At least not to me. And I feel like I can talk for plenty of us. Why? Because we mad, we angry. If something no change and decisions keep being made without public input that affects us and our town, which then affects our whole lives, civil disobedience is inevitable. Put the residences and our keiki first and get our water restored. Mahalo.
you.
First of all, you guys need acting lessons because you smirking while she's talking is as she's talking about how we need to get rid of Peter Martin. The water in Hanakauai is being illegally diverted to the hotels. They renewed the lease that was not their right to renew. So that's being illegally diverted, and I'm sure it's happening on the rest of Lahaina. You want to talk about evacuation routes? How about the 8-foot wide tunnel the county put in on Lahaina Luna? From Lahaina Luna down to Front Street, that every family could have evacuated through. But no, nobody knew about that, did they? Brand new fiber optics, brand new water pipes. Do I need to go make a video of that? I'll do that next. And the governor, Josh Green, all he does is lie through his teeth. He sits here and tells us no tourists until October 8th. I find tourists the very next day in the Papakia. What are they doing in Hanakauai? Why am I kicking out tourists out of our camp every single day, stealing our supplies? Coming up to me asking for Dramamine for their cruise so that they don't have to buy it at the store. Taking our toilet paper, taking our water. Why am I kicking out undercover feds, FEMA, Air Force, whatever the fuck they are, coming in, acting like they're volunteers, trying to spy on me and John? So everything the governor's doing is the opposite of what he tells the public. So if he's covering up every action, all of this is too obvious. The smart city plan was shut down. And so now he puts an emergency proclamation taking away all zoning and rebuilding codes so that he can do whatever he wants. And I need everybody out of Lahaina. We need a third-party investigation, one that the governor does not have any control over. The only way Lahaina is going to get rebuilt for the people is by taking down Josh Green and every single person getting paid off with them.
I am Pailiki Okona. I'm a resident of Lahaina. And, the state that we are all in now, not only in Lahaina, but across the state of Hawaii, we're in a state of exploitation. Hanani K. Trask puts it as our people, our environment, and our culture is the prostitute, and the state of Hawaii is the pimp. But even in that transaction, the prostitute makes something out of that. So we are not, I think she puts it lightly actually, we are not in a state of prostitution. We're in a state of unknown slavery to the system. We are the slaves to this system. We're the slaves to the system, and our kia'i, our vigilant community, and our hopeful keiki are the ones who bear the brunt of this, of the aftermath, leaving us to pick up the pieces. Now, there are so many open wounds that need to be addressed today, but I'm going to try and focus on just two. The first topic in creating a more resilient and resiliency plan for the future is to give the community more opportunities to sit at the table and let our voices be heard. Because we don't deserve a seat at the table, just that, because we own that table. And any issues that arise that was created at the state and the county level, who came with the solutions? The community did. Yeah? So I was kind of hoping I would get the crowd prior involved in this, but just as an example, can I get a show of hands of how many people in here were consulted about the October 8th reopening of tourism on the west side? I don't even have to look behind me because I know there's not one hand stand up now. How many people in here, show of hands, who want the October 8th date to be postponed and are not ready for tourism to return to Lahaina? Okay? That being said, that's my 500 people that was here against your 200 people, Josh Green. Yeah? Spreading lies like he always has been. Secondly, I would like to touch on this our tourism industry. Now, as we look into the future, especially in Lahaina, there is a clear need for a more authentic Hawaiian experience. What has been sold, that cliche image of that has been sold to our visitors of endless sunshine, sandy beaches, and rainbows barely skims the surface of the profound richness of Hawaii and its people and its culture. That narrative is peddled. That is peddled is a cheapened ideology appealing to the masses. But there's a cost at selling cheap. We attract transient interests, missing those who'd value our true essence. We've been selling in bulk on an island where resources are finite. So it's time we shift that narrative from Hawaii being a mass destination to a place of invaluable experiences and underscoring the unique essence and the values of our island. But before we speak on tourism, because we have all of our eggs in one basket right now, we should diversify our economy, first and foremost. Now, we need to incentivize regenerative tourism, tours that incorporate ideas of aloha aina. And in our peak seasons in Hawaii, or in Maui, we have 100,000 visitors on island. If a quarter of them went up into the mountain and was able to replant and get an authentic Hawaiian experience and plant just 4 trees, if just a quarter of them went, that's 100,000 trees that we could be replanting. Yeah? Our state still generates revenue, we rejuvenate and revitalize our environment, and we have a workforce paying to work for us. This is a holistic opportunity that's a win-win across the board, even though the state of Hawaii does not deserve to win. We also create an industry that incentivizes Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian language. So we're going to create a need for that. So down the line, we're going to need people to be working. People can, our entire system can huli. Our entire education system can huli, and we can prioritize
4
giving
minutes.
Hawaiian language and Hawaiian culture to people. And I think, sorry, I'm going to get through my testimony and get to the end. Last thing I want to share is in regards to people struggling financially. And that being basically the sole purpose of why Josh Green made his decision to open October 8th, because of finances, right? Governor Green still has $200 million in discretionary funds that he can use to support Lahaina without any legislative approval. And that's over $25,000 per family, per displaced resident in Lahaina. So that's also an option.
Thank you. I was raised in the Wahi of Lahaina for most of my life, and my ties to this place go back generations. I remember my father telling me stories about his childhood in Lahaina. And it's so different from my own today. He told me stories about the mano and about how his family would sustain themselves off of this land, yeah. And weeks before the fire, I was working as an educator for Huiova Akaulu, and I was sharing these stories with my students. And I was telling them about Mokohinia and why we're named Malu'ulu Olele. And the questions I kept getting are, where is that? Because when you look around, it's not the same. Our people are self-sustaining. We are resilient. We do not need these industries that are in place today. And I know that might be controversial, but I believe that to be true. And I think the way we have handled this whole situation just proves that. It's time to put our people first. All of my life, I've seen us being treated as second-class citizens in our own home. And we are told that we need these outsiders in order to survive, and it is not true. It is not true.